The wife of a security guard shot and killed in downtown Dallas CVS Friday night is sharing how she'll remember her husband. The family says Anthony Egianu was confronting shoplifters when he was shot 3 times. NBC5's Keenan Willard spoke with his wife about the light he still leaves behind.
Octavia Egianu still remembers her first date with her husband. Always smiling and joking, Anthony took her for ice cream in his cousin's car to impress her.
That was the light in him that I loved, and just knowing that he was a Christian man.
They were soon married, raising 3 kids together as Anthony pursued his dream of one day becoming a police officer. In the meantime, he was working as a private security guard in Dallas.
We knew the risk, but not at this magnitude, because that's why we decided to go security. Because he knew that, well, police officer right now is kind of dangerous. I want to come home to my family. I want to come home to my kids.
When his shift ends, Anthony usually gets home after midnight. Instead, early Saturday morning, his wife got a call from the security company.
And he told me that Anthony had been shot. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And he said, he's been shot. He's in the hospital.
The family says while working at this CVS in downtown Dallas, Anthony approached a group of juveniles and was shot 3 times.
He didn't have any time to react. He confronted them because they were shoplifting, and they just shot him. He was doing his job like he always do.
Arriving at the hospital, Octavia learned her husband had died. Speaking to NBC5 just 1 day later, Egianu says she's mourning her husband, but she's also leaning on her Christian faith to forgive his killer.
He's still alive, and we are going to see him on the other side. The reason why I can forgive them is because they made a bad decision. I don't think they knew the magnitude of what this was going to do.
Recently laid off, it's Octavia's job to raise their 3 children now. While she grieves Anthony, she'll have to figure out what comes next.
He was our support. You know, right now it's a little tough for me to think about because I shared, you know, it's just me now.
Keenan Willard, NBC5.
Police have arrested 2 juvenile suspects, but they have not told us what charges they face, and they're not being named publicly yet because of their ages.
2 teenagers now in custody for the killing of a store security guard. That shooting happened in the center of downtown last night at a CVS pharmacy. That guard, a father of 3, speaking with those family members.
He will always try to make a joke out of something, and it will still be corny.
Emotions are raw at the home of Anthony Egianu. His family still stunned by his death.
I will always be bruised from this situation because my dad is no longer here, or he's not coming home.
That's Amari and Jada, Anthony's daughters. Anthony Egianu worked as a security guard at a downtown Dallas CVS. He was shot and killed as he confronted shoplifters leaving the store. In less than 24 hours, 2 young suspects are in custody. They're not identified because of their ages.
They made a choice, and they made a choice to leave us hurting, grieving, in pain, never to ever lay eyes on a person that we love very much.
I didn't get to say goodbye. We had to look at him through a glass.
As his wife of 8 years sits surrounded by friends and family, Octavia says they'll lean heavily on their faith for closure.
This family is wounded. We are going to make it through because we serve a Savior who's already conquered.
I know that the Lord is not going to allow us not to have justice.
Anthony will be the second son Gwendolyn has lost to violence.
It tells me in the Word of God that when I say that I'm weak, I can say that I'm strong because God carries me when I can't carry myself. And right now, I'm not carrying myself. I know God is carrying me.
In Dallas, Ashley Moss, CBS News, Texas.
Anthony's family says before that shooting, he was up for promotion in that job he had. He would actually have been required to actually not work at that store as a result of his promotion. But again, it was last night, shot and killed outside of that CVS.
And the murder of a security guard at a downtown CVS store is sparking now some new concerns about public safety. While the deadly shooting was an isolated incident, the people living downtown say it's not the only issue they have to deal with.
In a room filled with people, there is one whose covenant was destroyed by murder.
I still thought everything was okay because I just knew he had his vest on. So when I got to the hospital, I was not expecting for them to tell me that they were sorry.
Dallas police say Octavia Aganago's husband, Anthony, was killed in a shoplifting incident that turned into murder. The call came into this CVS in the 1400 block of Main Street on Friday night, just before 11 p.m.
I mean, how do you tell a 15-year-old your dad won't be taking you to the father-daughter dance? How do you tell my 10-year-old that he won't be at her graduation from elementary, and my 4-year-old who stays up every night to wait on his dad to come home?
A 13 and 15-year-old teens face capital murder charges in the 39-year-old's killing.
And I've called 911 and the police don't show up.
The fatal incident was top of mind and just the tip of the iceberg for concerned residents who live in downtown Dallas. Issue number one, police response to an array of crimes, was unsatisfactory.
I will tell you this, we can do better in police response times.
Dallas Interim Police Chief Michael Igo brought a team to answer questions and address concerns at a meeting held by Downtown Dallas, Inc. He told a packed room that the department would add a daytime task force to target crime, in addition to an existing one that started in November. DPD is also working on a plan with UTSA and the Alamo City for a crime prevention analysis of just downtown, even though crime for the area was flat and property crimes went down 23%.
We have a concerned community, and obviously whether it's a homicide, tragic homicide, or an incident regarding an assault of a person, we never want to see that. We never want to see that in any of our communities.
Dallas's city manager even having a moment with the grieving mother of the murdered security guard.
And don't let go. I will not. And God's not going to let go of you.
Dallas police chief will host a downtown Dallas community meeting after a deadly shooting at a CVS.
Steve, Anthony Egiano's wife told me he always made a point to try and help young people, and they're heartbroken that his life was taken, police say, by a pair of juveniles while he was at work.
Anthony had a big heart. He will help anybody. You call him, he's coming.
Just after midnight Saturday, it was Octavia Egiano who got a call that sent her rushing to help her husband, Anthony Egiano.
His supervisor informed me that Anthony had been shot and that he was in the hospital.
The 39-year-old security guard died at the hospital.
He just said, this is never an easy way to say this. And he said, I'm sorry. And at that moment,
Dallas police say Friday, around 11 p.m., Anthony Egiano was shot while working as a security guard for the CVS pharmacy on Main Street in downtown Dallas. 2 juveniles are in custody, and their names are not being released because of their age. Police have said little about what led up to the shooting, but his family believes he may have approached them before he was shot.
Anytime he works around or see teenagers or young kids, he tries to connect with them, to try to talk to them, to do the right thing.
They know Friday night he was just doing his job.
You can get up and go to work and you can do your job, and not in a mean or aggressive way, right? And you're doing what you're supposed to do, and your life is taken and within seconds of acknowledging, I know what you're doing.
Jermaine Pipkin says the pain of losing his cousin is indescribable.
It's just a pain, and it's a deep void that will just never go away.
In addition to his wife, Anthony Egiano leaves behind 2 daughters and a son. His wife says it's the little things she misses the most.
I'm wearing his shirt, his clothes, just because you still smell his cologne on there.
And he will be remembered as a protector, a caretaker, an all-around great man.
He was a great man who definitely enjoyed life and lived life to the fullest. And, you know, we're just sad that that was taken away.
The family hopes that his death is a chance to make a change in the community, especially in the lives of young people.
We don't want Anthony's life to be in vain, but how can we leverage this opportunity to truly impact kids' lives? Because that's what he would want.
Dallas Downtown Incorporated said the interim Dallas police chief will hold a community meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. as you all mentioned. Chief Michael Igo is expected to give an update on this homicide investigation and share measures that are being taken to ensure and enhance public safety in downtown Dallas.
Man, what is it with the youth these days? Condolences to the victim and his family. This man got up, went to work, and provided for his family. And I'm pretty sure he never believed that he'd die at the hands of a couple of 13 and 14-year-old or 15-year-old juveniles. I bet if they start issuing out punishment, stiffer punishments, to the parents of these little derelicts, I guarantee you this kind of foolishness would stop overnight. This man has just been taken away from his wife, his kids, his mother, and they just lost another family member to this same type of violence. I have another story right behind this one where a couple of teens around the same age do the same thing to another security guard. And a week prior to this, a couple of 13, 14-year-olds robbed and killed another 14-year-old. We need to really find these kids something to do because this senseless nonsense is really, really bad. It's not getting bad. This shit is bad. And we really, really need to nip this in the bud. We don't need to be losing honorable women, children, and men of our neighborhoods. Now, these little fellas will probably do a good 15, 20 years and get out. But hopefully, they learn from their mistakes. Because although tragic as this is, they just a bunch of kids who didn't know the magnitude of the things that they've done. Until next time. Thank you for watching Prime Crime Network, your source for urban and suburban and around the world news. Hit the subscribe, like, and the notification bell